Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Geek XP. My name is Marley, and I'm joined today with Carson.
Hello, everyone.
And today we're going to be talking about Monster Hunter World, a very curious game that's pulled, I'd say, both of us in pretty heavily. I know I've been playing a lot of
Yeah,
it.
and I think the 5 million people that bought the game are agreeing with you.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's already the most shipped Monster Hunter game. I think they're still waiting on, concrete sales numbers, but it's the most copies of a Monster Hunter game that they've
Yep.
ever shipped, which is great. But we wanted to give our not a full review, but kind of our first impressions, because Monster Hunter World is a curious game for me and Carson, as it's got a very dedicated fan base that loves it, and we've both tried in the past with Monster Hunter, but it didn't quite take. Yet World seems to really have its claws in both of us. So I thought we'd start by talking kind of our history with the franchise and then go into why we think World is so good. So Carson, do you want to start with whatever your history, however brief it
Yeah,
is?
sure. So I can't remember the year this game came out, but it was Monster Hunter Generations for the Wii. That
Yep.
was my first Monster Hunter game I ever bought, and I think I bought it used as well.
Uh-huh.
And I really liked the idea of it at the time. I was like, oh, cool. I'll go hunt monsters. This is going to be great.
Yep.
Pop it in my Wii, and I'm in there. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go, let's go. And I had no idea what to do. There was like no direction on like what I
Yeah.
was supposed to do. My first mission, I was completely lost on what I was supposed to do. And I was like, oh, what in the world? The menus were super confusing, and I gave up so hard on that game, like really quick. It was like all of a
Yeah.
sudden I realized, like, oh wow, this is not for me right now.
Yeah. So I had a similar experience. I had a friend, or kind of friend, this guy at my bus stop in high
Hmm.
school who would, he had a PSP. That was like his main gaming device. And he had Monster Hunter Freedom Unite
Okay.
2. And he was telling me about the game. He was like, yeah, you design a character and then you go out and you hunt these giant monsters. And I was like, I love designing characters and I love giant monsters. This sounds
Yep. Yep.
perfect. So I got a PSP for Christmas that year, and I used some of my Christmas money to go pick up a copy of Freedom Unite. And right away, I was super lost. I didn't really like. I think I found a weapon that I liked using, but like I wasn't used to that type of game where
Yeah.
like once you're locked into an animation, you have to let the animation finish and play
Right.
out,
Right.
and then the game didn't tell you how to do anything. And I was playing on a PSP, which was not an ideal control scheme because there was no second
Right. Right.
analog stick. So I was using the D pad to do camera
Yep.
control, and there was no lock on button at the time. And I remember not being able to beat the the first big monster that they send
Yeah.
you out to fight. I could never beat him, and I didn't have anybody to play with. That guy had a PSP, but I never brought mine to school. And multiplayer is a big component of this
Yeah.
franchise. It has been since its inception. And so I remember I tried for like a month straight to beat this first boss. I could never do it. I would try here and there after that, but eventually I just gave up.
Gotcha.
And it was always one of those franchises that I wanted to love because I loved the
Oh,
idea of it.
totally.
Like, it seems so cool, and every time they would show trailers for one after that, I'd always be like, maybe this is the one. Maybe this is the one, but then I would
Yeah.
always get too scared to pull the
Totally.
trigger. Which brings us now to Monster Hunter World. I was pretty intrigued about this game from the get go. Like when we saw that first trailer at Sony's E3
Yes.
conference, I was like, whoa, this looks super
To be
cool.
totally honest, I completely wrote it off because I saw it was Monster Hunter, and I was like, oh, this is just gonna be like Generations. I have no idea what's gonna like. I don't know what I'm gonna be doing. I was like, that looks cool, but it's Monster Hunter.
Yeah, and that was my other big worry too. Like I was like, "Whoa, this looks super cool," but in the back of my mind, I did have that
Yeah.
worry. I was like, "I've tried with this franchise before, and it doesn't take.
Yep.
So, is this really going to be worth it for me?" Now, as we got closer to release for the actual game, that's when I started getting a little more curious. They started showing off like how in depth the character creator
Okay.
was and how in depth the Palico creator was. And they did these open betas for the PlayStation
Mm-hmm.
exclusively. And I hopped into one of the open betas and I was like, I'm starting to like
Okay.
this. Like there were these big quality of life improvements that I really dug. Stuff like finally having a lock on
Yep.
button.
That's nice.
Um, your Palico being like a combat
Yep.
patriot, which I think they added in one of the other games. I can't remember. But there were these little things that I was like, all right, maybe I'll give this a chance. And then the reviews started coming out, and I was like, okay, this is definitely worth
Gotcha.
it. So what about you? Like, what led you to your decision to finally
Okay.
buy it?
So I was like I said, I completely wrote it off from E3, so I went completely dark on this game. So up until literally like a few days before this game came out, I had no intention of buying it whatsoever.
Uh
But
huh.
it kind of fell in a perfect time period for me. There weren't any games, new games coming out that I was interested in. I've kind of been playing Overwatch here and there, and I've been playing a game called Fury, which is pretty fun too. But those are
Uh
off and on games. I don't have a dedicated game to play. I haven't had one in a little while. So all of
yeah.
a sudden, I saw you posting about Monster Hunter on Facebook and in like our message group and stuff like that, and I was like, huh, I'll take another look at this. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
this game looks cool. I remember it from E3. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to wait for reviews, just like you said. I
Hmm.
saw the reviews start coming in and I saw the high, like the nines and stuff. I was like, okay, I'm about to
Yeah.
just jump into this for better or for worse. And
Yeah.
holy cow, it was so worth it because, to be completely honest, I literally, that's all I did that weekend. I played
Oh,
Monster Hunter
dude.
the entire weekend.
So I got home from work that night at 8. I played, no joke, until 3 in the morning.
Yep.
Like, I have so much time logged into this
Yeah.
game in the short amount of time that it's been out.
Yes. It's
And
pretty crazy.
it's insane. So, for two people that never really had a liking for the series before, what is it about World that you think has grabbed you?
Yeah, that's interesting. So I think the idea of hunting these awesome monsters was always the thing that I was interested in, and that's definitely the thing that's making me like hook me in. It's the hook for sure, because these
Yeah.
monsters are insane. I have never played a game quite like this where the monsters are so unique. Their animations are so fluid. The
They
interaction,
act like
yeah, they're.
animals.
I feel like I'm actually hunting a wild animal because
Yeah.
they're erratic sometimes. They engage in
Yeah.
territorial like disputes. It's insane. Like it's the coolest moment ever when you're fighting a monster and another one comes in and starts brawling. And you're like, "Holy
Yeah.
crap. What the heck just
And I
happened?"
and I love seeing how all the different monsters
Yeah.
react because like an Anjanath and a Tobi Kadachi will totally interact in a different way than say an Anjanath and a
Yes.
Great Jagras. One will totally get in on the
Yes.
brawl. The other one is gonna turn tail and run away.
Yes. Yeah, you're yeah.
And like they all have like their own individual
Yep. And
personalities.
they've got a
Which,
hierarchy too, for sure.
yeah, yeah, and it's so cool. And I think for me, getting off of the
Mhm.
handhelds has done such a service to this
Totally.
franchise No disrespect to the 3DS, but it just couldn't handle stuff like this,
Did
obviously.
Nintendo make a special deal with that team or something like that?
No, so what happened was is Monster Hunter's always been very huge in Japan. There are times where Monster Hunter games rival Pokemon
That's crazy.
sales. Like Monster Hunter is a lifestyle over
Gotcha.
there. And when everybody started buying up the 3DS,
Right?
Capcom was like, "Well, that's where the money
Okay,
is."
and Japan likes mobile stuff too.
They do. And they've always wanted Monster Hunter to take off in the
Mm-hmm.
West. And what's the most popular system in the West? It's the PS4 and the
Right,
Xbox
right.
One. So they were like, well, this is where the money is. Let's kind of westernize it a little bit
Yep.
more. And that's how we got World. But I agree with like everything you said. The world is so lush and full of life. Like
Yes.
whether it's like tiny little insects or the smaller monsters that are like the herd
Yep.
monsters, everything is just like you feel like you're in this crazy wild
Yeah.
ecosystem.
It's the ancient forest is the first place you're allowed to explore. It's a
Yeah.
great first area because it's the when I went into that forest, I honestly kind of got lost because there's so many different
Yeah.
levels to it and little
Yeah.
nooks and crannies to find, which is the kind of thing that I love personally. Like I love just
Yeah.
exploring and finding stuff. And you can go up this massive tree that has so many levels to it. When I figured that out, I was like, "Holy crap. This is insane."
And then you get to the top and there's a
Yep.
nest. And I remember the first time I got to that nest, I fought Toby Kadachi there. I thought that
Oh
was his
shoot.
nest. Yeah, he was there scrounging for
That's
food.
crazy.
So when I was hunting him for parts, I went back up
Yeah.
there and ran into friggin'
Yeah,
Rathalos. I
yeah.
was like, oh, okay. And I feel like I'm constantly discovering something.
Yes. It's
The
crazy.
the other thing that I think has made this game so accessible for me are the small quality of life changes they've
Mhm.
made. So the lock on is a big one. This is it's a first for the series and it helps a
Yep.
lot. They do a way better job of teaching you
Yes.
things. Like I love the training yard where you can test out all the different weapons. They
Yes.
give you all of them to try
Yep.
out before you hop into the
Real
field.
quick, what's your loadout right now for weapons?
So right now I'm maining dual
Okay.
blades and the light bow gun.
Nice, nice.
Those are the two that I flip flop back and forth, but I really want to learn how to use the insect glaive.
So yeah, I've got my I don't have a main, I guess. I was doing the insect glaive as my main, and then I
Mm-hmm.
stumbled upon the hammer, and I'm now torn between I love both those weapon styles. Dude, the insect glaive is really awesome. It's really
Yeah,
cool. Such a cool weapon. But yeah, like you were
yeah,
saying, the training ground great for testing out stuff and especially for like newcomers that don't know what's going on. It's amazing because I was like, wow, there's like 14 weapon types here. I have no idea like what is happening, and I just went in there. Shows the
yeah,
insect glaive is the first one. I was like, hey, this is actually really cool, and then that's the one I went
yeah.
for at the beginning of the game.
And it's cool because the first couple hours of the game really are a
Yeah.
tutorial. Like each little mission you go on is introducing a new system to you. So like for instance in Freedom Unite 2, they just kind of offload you into the game and you're left alone to discover what all this stuff
Yes.
does. But at this like they're slowly teaching you bit by bit and I feel like I don't understand all of the systems
Mm-hmm.
completely, but I understand them enough to have
Yeah.
fun and hop into the world.
What do you think about the story?
It's serviceable. I think it's good for getting people into the game. I've seen a lot of diehard Monster Hunter fans say like, and I guess it's like this in past Monster Hunter games too, but the story is basically your
Mm-hmm.
campaign. And once or not your campaign, I'm sorry, your
Okay.
tutorial.
Okay.
And once you finish the story and you start getting into G rank and like the higher ranks,
Oh.
that's when the quote unquote game starts.
Wow.
Like, but like right now you're in a 20 hour, a 50-hour plus tutorial. I think they've said there's 50 hours in the main
Whoa.
campaign.
That's. Are you serious?
something like 20 to 50 hours, something like that, depending on how in depth you
Oh,
go.
okay, I see. All right. Because I don't know how far I am in the campaign, to be honest. Like, I've opened a bunch of areas up, but I've kind of been, like, doing the campaign casually. Like, I love just doing other stuff because there's so much to do.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's just like I can't stress enough how much fun I'm
Yeah,
having. Like I'm in other games, like the grind gets to me
right.
after a while. But like for instance, right now I'm hunting for Kobe Tabachi.
Dude, I don't even, I'm not going to be able to help you. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, some of the names are still like hard to get
I've
used
only
to.
got Raytheon and Anjanath. Those are the only two I know. And
Yeah.
Jagra, the Jagras or whatever.
Toby Toby Kadachi,
Okay,
that's what
okay.
it is. So I'm hunting Toby Kadachi because I want the armor.
Yep.
And I need these specific pieces to drop and they're not dropping. But the gameplay loop of go out, find the
Yep.
monster, kill it, take the parts back,
Yep.
repeat is so satisfying because the systems are so
Yeah.
tight that I find myself not minding the
Yeah,
grind.
and the interaction with the monster, even though it's the same one, is probably it's going to be different because another
Every
monster
time.
might come into the fight and all that. Now, is the Kobe
Yeah.
Kadashi, is that the electric one?
Yeah, he's the weird like flying
Yeah,
squirrel snake.
he gave me some trouble on the first fight. Like I had a lot of trouble with him. He was
Oh,
crazy. Yeah.
really? Yeah, it's so good. Um, so obviously not everything, nothing is perfect. Are
Right.
there any like beefs or criticisms you have with the game?
Yeah.
Because I have a pretty big
So
one.
I've been playing with Nate, who's also part of the Geek XP here. We both got on Xbox One, and since we both live in the same house as roommates, we have been able to play together a decent amount. I have to say that their online with grouping up with other people is not good. It's very
Yep.
I feel like more complicated than it needs to be, and the Xbox One Flare SOS system was broken over the weekend.
Oh no, that's such a like a key.
It's a big deal, but we're able to get around it by still like doing quests together and stuff like that. Like you can post a quest and then you can kind
Yeah.
of join it, but you have to be in the same person's like game session or something like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
So and that's my big beef too. Same thing on PS4. Nothing wrong with the SOS
yeah,
flare system, but that's the thing for me is that it feels way more complicated than it needs to be, and I feel like they misrepresented exactly how much multiplayer you can really
yeah,
do.
you're right,
They were like, it's a multiplayer
right.
story, but you've got to make sure you watch all the cutscenes before you can invite someone in.
Yep. So I'm glad you brought up the cutscene thing. So what Nate and I were doing was we literally would go out and do the cutscene really quick at the beginning, leave, abandon it, and then come back in and we could do the single player together in certain missions. And we were like, dude, this is so stupid. Like, why?
Yeah, it shouldn't be
Like,
that
I
way.
kind of know, like, they want to have your unique loadout of your character in the cutscene, but why not just keep it that way and the other person can see the same cutscene, but they're like, it's just them. Like, other games have done that.
Destiny.
Yeah, exactly. Destiny. Perfect
Yeah.
example. Except I'm probably not going to drop this game as quick as Destiny.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good one. Yeah, that's my big beef is a lot of the multiplayer systems feel a little archaic.
Yep.
You know, I have two friends that got the game on
Mm-hmm.
PS4 and opening night we're sitting there playing and we're like, when can we play together? When can we play together? When okay, we finally unlocked it. Oh wait, no, we've got to watch this
Yep.
cutscene
Yep.
first. It got to the point where we got so tired of waiting to play together. We just did the one multiplayer quest we had unlocked. We just did it over and over again. It was the Great
Yep.
Jagras hunt
Yep.
where you had to kill two of them. We just did that over and over again so we could finally play together. Um, so that's my one big beef. I feel like there's ways they could fix it. Like if they did a big
Yeah.
patch or something, or like really listened, I think it's something that could be fixed. And like once you do finally get into a session with someone, it's great.
Yes. It works great. Like, have you had any network problems or anything like that on the PS4?
Nothing.
Once
No.
once I was in there with Nate, it was seamless. Like it was great. Like I
Same.
didn't see any like bugs or anything.
No
There was
lag.
no lag. I did have one of my like when I was in a session, it like made me go into offline mode one time. Like I lost connection with their server or whatever. I don't know. That could have been on my end. I don't know.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's been pretty smooth. I think I don't know if this is a bad thing necessarily. It is there is a lot of information that they do throw at you very quickly. And because there's a lot of
Yeah.
menus and stuff like that, and a lot of icons that are unfamiliar. But after playing it for a while, I got it down. Like
Yeah.
you just gotta
And
commit some time.
and in the when you press like the start button or the option button on the
Yeah.
PS4 controller, you can scroll and find all those tutorials so
Yes.
you can look over them again. Unlike Xenoblade Chronicles X, which shows you the tutorials and then immediately gets rid of them and you can't ever look at
Yeah,
them
I
again.
I don't know if I could get back into Xenoblade Chronicles X just because I wouldn't remember how to do certain things.
Yeah. But now I'm super happy that I finally have a game in this franchise to love
Yeah.
because I've always wanted
And
to
I
love
think
it.
this is the game that is going to massively popularize this franchise. Like this is the watershed moment.
Definitely. Definitely.
It's going to be huge for the franchise, and now I feel like they fully come to the West. Like 5 million people bought this game over the weekend. That is a
Yeah.
lot of people.
Yeah.
That's a lot, and that's just the opening weekend. Like it's going to keep going.
And it looks like they plan on supporting it with free DLC
Awesome.
monsters.
That's great.
I know I don't know if it's every monster is going to be free, but I know in the spring the free
Mm-hmm.
update includes Devil Joe, who's this T-Rex
Oh shoot.
monster who's like an old fan favorite.
Awesome.
And he's coming out for free. He's just going to be a free content
That's
patch.
great, man.
So like if they can keep that going, like this is going to be one of those evergreen titles that people are like there's always going to be someone new to keep buying it.
So one thing that I'm wondering, I've seen all these awesome monsters, and there's some really big ones, and I know like there's the elder dragons that are humongous. What is the?
Yeah.
I've seen some like scale charts of like some old monsters from this franchise. There's some pretty big ones, aren't there?
Yeah.
I want to know
Yeah,
like
there
what's the biggest monster in this game, like,
I think it might be Zora
or
Magdaros, that big.
besides him, like
Oh,
one
who's the
in the
biggest in the
world, yeah, one
franchise?
in the world that you can find. Like I want to know what is like the biggest one, and is it in this game? Like, because I just wonder sometimes. I've fought in some big ones, man. Like
Yeah.
there's some big ones in this game. Like it's
Have
awesome.
you have you seen Ner Gigante yet?
I see. I can't remember their names.
Okay, well he's the flagship monster for this
Okay.
game. Like each game gets their flagship
Okay.
monster. He's got the horns and like the spikes.
Oh,
He's
oh, yes,
black.
yes. I have seen him. He's dope.
Yeah. So I haven't fought him in game yet, but he's one of the end game monsters and they put him in the beta.
Wow.
So I got to fight him in the beta, and he's not. I don't think he's the biggest, but he's
Yeah.
big and he's tough. Like in the beta, they gave you awesome
Yep.
gear, so like you were like top of the class. They made you purposely feel super
Gotcha.
powerful,
Gotcha.
and I could not beat him at all. So I can only imagine how hard that fight is going to be, like in the real
So
game.
there's one that I stumbled across in the wasteland called Diablos.
Okay.
That one is intimidating. I haven't fought him yet. I just kind of stumbled across him and I ran. That was intimidating. Like all of a sudden, I'm going down to this little cave in the wasteland, and he like kind of like walks out, and I was like, he's got a bunch of horns and stuff, dude. And I was like, holy crap, I'm not ready for this.
I think I did the same thing and I turned and ran.
Yeah.
That's in the ancient forest. I've run into that
Yes.
Rathian like 10 times, and every time I run into her, I'm like, nah, good. I'm good. Peace out.
Dude, the Rathion's a lot of fun. Me and Nate went ahead and like fought it together. It's a fun
Yeah,
fight.
cool. But I mean, I guess in short, you know, you want to give your final
I
thoughts and
totally agree with the 9.0s and 9.5s for this game. I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10, but it's definitely a really good great game, and it is not often that I just kind of on a whim buy a game like this and like dive
yeah,
in and pay a full price for something. I'm usually like well informed on like what's coming up and what I know I'm going to get. This was something that I just out of the blue was like, "All right, I'm giving it a try." And it's so worth it.
yeah.
Like I had so much fun with this game right now. Like it's great.
Yeah, I'm just gonna repeat a bunch of what you said. This was a franchise that I did not have the best history with, and I'm so happy that I jumped back
Yeah.
in. Kudos to Capcom to making a great game that casual fans and I think hardcore fans alike can really enjoy. And I've spoken to some hardcore fans that are
Yeah.
loving it. Um, I can't wait to keep playing this game, and I think I'm going to keep playing it for a long
Yep. I'm
time.
going to go play this right after we're done talking.
Yup, same here. But Carson, tell the people you got any cool videos coming up on the channel, anything they should check out?
So yeah, you guys can check me out on Twitter at Carson underscore save. I also I do a lot of video game content here on Geek XP, a lot of Nintendo stuff. I do some live streams on Mondays, either Mario Kart or Smash Brothers. I also try and do some animation content as well, and it's been mainly anime. I recently saw Mary and the Witch's Flower, which is a great movie. I really recommend seeing it if you can. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I do on the channel. Stop by all you want and watch our stuff.
And you can follow me on Twitter. I'm Rebellious Ewok. I haven't been posting a ton on the channel lately, but I definitely want to get back into the swing of it. This is hopefully the start of many more videos to come. But so just keep a lookout. Stay up to date on our Twitter accounts to see what we're doing. And we will talk to you all later. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.